I'm Caroline. I'm a trained doula with Birth Prep Doulas. In this video, I'm going to share my knowledge with you about breaking of the waters. That epic moment we see in movies where the water breaks and it's time for the baby to come, and it's an exciting moment. However, it doesn't always mean that the baby is coming right away. It doesn't always happen at the same time for every woman. It doesn't always happen in the same way for every woman. So that's what I'm going to be discussing in this video. And I'm going to use my fancy balloon to demonstrate. So medically, the term for breaking of the waters is rupture of membranes. So this balloon represents the amniotic sac, which is within your uterus. And within the amniotic sac is the fluid, the amniotic fluid, and your baby is in there just floating away happily, cozy and comfortable, and protected from the impacts of daily life so they don't get bruised or, just shaken up too much. Now, they interact with this amniotic fluid. They excrete into them, they pee into it. They're not supposed to poop in it. They're supposed to have their first poop after they've been born, and we will discuss that shortly. Why not? And in their trimester, they also consume a little bit of this fluid, which sounds strange but true and normal and perfectly healthy. So there are three ways in which your membranes can rupture. The first one is called preterm rupture of membranes. This happens before 37 weeks of gestation, which is what is considered to be full term, which is when your baby's lungs are fully developed. So they're viable. They're able to survive and breathe on their own in the outside world. And we want them to stay protected in the amniotic sac at least until after 37 weeks. So how do you know that your water may have broken? Let's start there. It is described as a gush or a trickle, and it feels sudden. And you may think, did I just pee my pants? And you might think, I'm not going to tell anybody this because that's embarrassing. But you do want to observe and make sure so that you can tell your doctor, tell your midwife, and if any interventions need to happen, they can be taken care of in time. So I'm going to share an acronym with you of how to know whether you have broken your waters and what to observe. The first thing you do if you suspect you've broken your water, you go to the bathroom and you empty your bladder, just to make sure that it's not just, urine. A really nice hack that I like to share for emptying your bladder when you're pregnant, so you empty it completely and you don't have to keep going to the bathroom a lot, is to lean forward a little bit and use your belly to put a little bit of gentle pressure on your bladder. That way you empty out completely. So after you've done that, you want to wear a pad because you don't know how much more may be coming. And then you want to observe so you can have information to give to your doctor or your midwife. So the acronym that I'm going to share with you is COAT, C-O-A-T. You want to observe the color. Amniotic fluid is clear in color. It's clear like water. And it may have some whitish flecks in it just from the vernix. That's the waxy coating that the babies have within the uterus. But that's what it should look like. It should not be brownish or green. If it's brownish or green, that means that there's meconium in it, this stool. That meconium is the baby's first stool that they're supposed to have after they're born, not before. If there's stool in the amniotic fluid, the danger for that is that the baby could aspirate, the baby could consume that, and that could cause a lot of complications, knowing that, stool is not something that we want to consume or we don't want stool to get into our body or into our lungs. So the baby will need to be treated as soon as possible if this has happened. O stands for odor. You want to kind of see if you can smell anything. It should not be foul smelling. If it's foul smelling, that's something that needs to be considered. It does not really have an odor to it. Urine has an acidic, pungent odor to it. But amniotic fluid, it doesn't have a very strong odor to it that you can really put a description to. If you have a strong nose, it might smell a little sweetish, maybe a little fleshy, but it shouldn't have a strong odor to it. And then the amount, you're probably not going to be able to get a measuring cup and measure how much came out, but you can just remember what you observed. Did it seem like about a teaspoon, about a tablespoon, about a cupful? You can just say it was a lot came out, or just a little, but it kept coming out and didn't stop coming out even after I went to the bathroom. Those are the kinds of things that you want to remember to tell your provider. And then the time. Now, why we want to observe the time that you first suspected that your water broke is because we want you to go into labor within 24 hours of your water breaking. So again, back to our favorite balloon. So this amniotic sac provides a barrier between the cervix and the outside world, so that things cannot crawl up there and interfere with your baby's development. So now that the sac is ruptured, and how we know the sac is ruptured is that the liquid is gushing out of the balloon, there's a high risk that infections could go up there and just cause a lot of complications for your baby. So we want you to go into labor as soon as possible to just completely not chance that. So the next thing you're going to do, now that you're pretty sure your water has broken, even if you're not sure your water has broken, you might want to run it by your doctor. But your water has broken, you call your doctor. More than likely, they're going to have you go in if you're before full term. And when you go in, they're going to test. They use nitrazine paper, and they just dab your pad and get a little bit of the fluid, and they measure it by the pH of it. And once they confirm that you broke your waters, there are tests that they're going to run. They're going to perform an ultrasound just to see what's going on with the baby. Depending on how soon it is that you broke your water, they could decide to infuse you with fluid. They can do that. They can infuse fluid into the amniotic sac if you're still if your baby is too far away from being viable, and this is an option for you. Or they could inject it in using amniocentesis. Or if you are pretty close enough to full term, they could decide to either see if you're going to go into labor on your own within 24 hours. You could discuss with your doctor whether he or she wants to induce you so you can go into labor as soon as possible, or depending on what else is going on with you and your baby, you could be discussing a C-section at this point. The reasons that they're worried about that, again, is the high risk for infection, but also because the pressure changes as soon as the liquid gushes out. There is the risk that the baby's cord could prolapse. That means it comes out before the rest of his body, and then it's going to get cinched in the process of labor, and then they're not going to be getting circulation, and then they're going to be in distress. They're going to be in danger. And there's also the risk of interrupted blood flow to the placenta because, again, the pressure has changed, and so your baby's not going to be getting the nourishment that they need. So those are the things that your doctor will discuss with you if you go in and you say, hey, I'm not 37 weeks, but I'm pretty sure that my water broke. So let's take care of this. The second way that your membranes can rupture is spontaneously. Spontaneous. You're just minding your own business and your water breaks. Usually this is when you're full term. You're thinking, anytime now I could have this baby. Again, the sensation for a lot of women is, did I just do what I think I did? So same thing, go to the bathroom, empty your bladder, put on a pad, and then, observe, coat, color, odor, amount, time. But you also want to call your provider right away and tell them, I think I might have broken my water. And then depending on your birth plan, you will proceed from there. If you were planning on laboring as much as possible at home, then all the best to you. Call your doula and let them know to be prepared. Things are starting to happen. we want you to go into labor within 24 hours. You may start to feel contractions after your water breaks when you're full term, even before. But and then that's it. You just go into labor, and you have your baby, hopefully very soon and very healthily. And then the third way that your ruptures your membranes can rupture. This is a mouthful. Say it 3 times fast. Is artificially. So that means someone helps the process. Your provider, your midwife, or your doctor could use their fingers to just break the sac, or they could use an amnio hook. And an amnio hook looks like a crocheting hook, and they just put it in through the cervix. You don't feel any of this. It's not something that will make you feel uncomfortable, nothing to be afraid of. And they just snag the sac and break it, and the water starts gushing out. The reasons that this could be done is 1, to try and induce labor. 2, it could be done during labor if your progress has slowed down or is stalling, and you agree with your provider that you would like a little bit of help. So what happens? Where is my trusty balloon? So if your baby is floating in water in this balloon, during labor, we want the baby's head to be putting pressure on the birth canal, so that the cervix continues to dilate, and then so that the contractions, continue to be more effective. So if for some reason this is not happening, as soon as the water breaks, then the baby's head the water's broken, the sac is open, the baby's head is now putting pressure where it should be putting pressure on, and then dilation continues to happen, and it just progresses labor. The things that they worry about with this are the same. Infection, cord prolapse. It does make your contractions feel stronger. So, but at this point, you probably are under observation, because we're hoping that you have this baby very, very soon. There's not too much to worry about if they break your water manually. Hopefully, your labor progresses, well, and you have a satisfying birth experience that you can cherish. I hope that was good information for you, and I'd be happy to talk with you more about anything else that you'd like to discuss. Thank you. Have a great day.